Maximize your wealth now.
Yes, in business, finance, family, and lifestyle. Think about it. As a certified financial educator, my whole goal for this program originally was to bring business and finance together with spiritual principles and universal laws. And all of it needs to come from the heart. Got it?
Maximize your wealth now.
Absolutely. Yes!
Welcome back to Maximize Your Wealth Now.
In business, finance, family, and lifestyle.
Oh boy, do we have a great show for you today. But before we talk about that, we just want to share a little bit about honesty and integrity and how important that is in the way that you operate in life. Being true to your word is a gift, first of all, to yourself. And secondly, it's a gift to anyone else that you have a relationship with. So honesty, I find, is one of the most important things, and recognizing when you're being truthful and when you're not. Sometimes it's easy to slip up, and you catch yourself if you pay attention to what you're saying. So being honest is something that takes you to the next level in your life by being honest with everyone in all your efforts, everything that you do, having that honesty and integrity, super important.
And I'd like to talk about the importance of doing what you say you're going to do. And if you are in a business relationship, make sure you have things written down so that they know exactly what they're supposed to be getting and exactly what you've promised to provide. So don't even think twice about it, even if you have to sketch it out on your own and get their agreement with a date. And I'll tell you, I made another big mistake when I was buying a property in Mexico. And I had a partner in Mexico. And he said, okay, well, we'll do this agreement. And we'd already laid it out while we were there. But because we didn't have a printer and we didn't have anything to print it out with, we ended up saying, okay, well, we'll sign this agreement to buy this condo, and then we'll just sign our agreement when it can be printed out. Well, guess what? He decided not to sign the document. And for 5 years, I've been running with a person owning a condo with me that's never made a payment because he didn't have to. So get it written down ahead of time, right?
That makes so much sense. A lot of things can be said, but I know sometimes when somebody says something, the languaging gets misconstrued. So that's why it's really important, like Shirlene said, to get it in writing. It's easy to hear what somebody said, and actually you can hear something different. We've done this so many times. It's like the game telephone operator, right? Mm-hmm. Where you whisper something, and by the time it gets to the last person, it's completely different than what it started with. The same thing can happen with verbal agreements and verbal conversations. So I agree 100%. Get it in writing. It can be as simple as an email that says, here's what I understand that we're going to do and how we're going to move forward. That's it. That's all it takes. Simple email.
Simple. Remember my problem, and then you'll never have your own. So today's going to be a great day. Barbara, why don't you kick it off?
So today we're going to have Steve Farber. Now, Steve Farber is an author, and he talks about leadership. He's so brilliant. You're going to hang on his every word. That's how I feel when I talk to him. I feel like everything he says has value, and you just want to soak it up. So I can't wait till he gets on set with us.
And we're also going to be talking to Lenore. She has come all the way here from San Francisco Bay Area to talk to us and be on the set with us. And she, for 30 years, has been a Feng Shui master. And I've always found Feng Shui so intriguing, and the way that they do things to support others in making their life better. And I love it because she's staying with me and she's helping me with my own home with the Feng Shui. So you are going to learn some things you won't believe. I'm totally surprised by a lot of it.
That's amazing. So Feng Shui, the fun thing about that is that it's in every area of your life. It's in your clothing, it's in your house, it's in your car. I mean, you can have everything feel aesthetically wonderful by using Feng Shui techniques. So how exciting is that?
So let's get started.
Lenore is a Feng Shui master with over 30 years of experience and is revered worldwide as a certified green home and office building professional. Linda is known for creating corporate and home environments that stimulate success and soothe the soul. Some of her clients are Adobe Systems, Apple Computer, Bank of the West, the Ritz-Carlton, along with international media celebrities. Linda Lenore's expertise has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Christian Science Monitor, San Jose Mercury News, Better Homes and Gardens, and many more. As a Feng Shui master, Linda blends ancient intuitive wisdom to interior and landscape design, combined with green and sustainable building practices. She's been recognized as an American Society of Interior Designers Distinguished Speaker and is known for creating the first green sustainable design building practice course entitled Green Feng Shui. Linda's heartfelt passion is to educate, motivate, inspire, and transform her audiences. She is an award-winning lecturer and a featured presenter at home and garden shows, in documentaries, and on the Hallmark Channel and Lifetime Media. Linda's best-selling book, The Gift of the Red Envelope, a guide to designing balance, order, and beauty in your home, has been translated into several languages and has changed the lives of readers worldwide.
Linda, I know our audience is dying to know. Tell us how you got started in Feng Shui.
I have an interior design background, and in doing my business of interior design, I realized that I didn't know how to run a business. Very fortuitously, I received a brochure in the mail, went to a 6-day-long trade show wearing my designer outfit, which was the first time I had ever gone to a trade show. This was over 30 years ago. I'm dressed in this designer outfit right down to the 4-inch pointed toe shoes on cement floors.
On a trade show.
On a trade show. The first day, my feet were killing me. The last day, I sat down in the auditorium to hear one of the speakers, not really knowing much of what was going on. It was all about interior design, but the auditorium had very short seats, and I got long legs. So the only place that I fit was in the front row. So I sat down in the front row and I'm rubbing my feet and I'm not paying attention to what's going on. It's about the time for the presentation to start. I turn around and I discover I'm literally one of a handful of people not of Asian descent. About the time that it started, a gentleman walked in. He had 6 other people behind him in a processional. Sitting there, I'm going, He starts talking and he only spoke Mandarin. Now what am I going to do? I'm in the front row. I can't get up. I can't leave. He continues to talk, and about 10 minutes later, one of the gentlemen gets up and he starts to explain in English what's going on.
Thank goodness.
Yes, I was so relieved. He started to talk about things that had to do with interior design. At least I thought they were interior design. I could kind of picture something. And the technology back then was the overhead projector and the transparencies. So
Yes.
Projector, transparencies, 2 people helping put it on there. All of a sudden, it's kind of quiet. I look up and I see that he's drawing something, and he takes this transparency, puts it on the projector, and he explains it. Now, during the course of the time that I had been there, I'd heard them say every now and then something about good feng shui, and people are going, oh, and they write down, because they want that note. They want the good feng shui, right?
Absolutely.
And by the way, I say feng shui because that's the Mandarin pronunciation. It can be pronounced feng shui, feng shui, feng shui. It just depends upon the dialect. So you really can't mispronounce it.
Okay, that's good to know.
And I'm listening to him. He's talking about some bad feng shui every now and then. And when he says bad feng shui, everyone's got their pen out. They're taking notes. They don't want that bad feng shui either.
No.
So he puts this transparency on the projector and he says something about bad feng shui. There's a gasp in the audience. Translator gets up and says, if this is the floor plan of a house, if this is a bedroom, if it's a child's bedroom and this is where the bed's located, it can be so harmful to a child's health. The child could actually die.
Oh my goodness.
Unfortunately, he had drawn my house and my son's room. And my son Jeff had died a few months before.
Oh no. Oh my God.
I didn't care that I was being disrespectful. I grabbed my things, I ran out of that auditorium, found a place, and I just bawled.
Oh my God.
Okay. Jeff was 13 when he died of malignant brain tumor. It was many years later when I found out exactly what was going on and why that happened. But that was my introduction to Feng Shui. Correct placement of our beds is crucial for a good night's rest, as well as preventing health issues. Some guidelines are: do not place a bed under a window, against a wall with a window, with the foot of the bed in alignment with any door, especially bathroom, hallway, or doors to the outside, or have a mirror reflecting the bed like the mirrored closet doors. Do place the bed as far away from the entrance door as possible against a solid, non-windowed wall. Have a headboard, and the best type of headboard is a solid wood style like a sleigh bed. There was another 3-hour presentation in the afternoon on Feng Shui in that same auditorium. I had to go back and find out what he was saying.
Yes.
But in that case, I was not in the front row. I was in the back. I was as close to the door as you could possibly be so I could leave quickly. And it was during that one that he said, if you have your own business and you need more clients, you need to put up a brass wind chime outside the front door to your house. Okay, that made no sense whatsoever. I mean, a wind chime, it has to be brass. Okay, 30 years ago, you couldn't go to the local hardware store or nursery and find a wind chime, much less a brass one.
Right.
But I had a little ceramic one someone had given me. I took it from my backyard, put it by my front door, just to wait and see. Now, I'm a skeptic, so I'm just, yeah, let's see if this works. I don't think so. Well, up until that time, because we were new in business, if we got 3 or 4 leads a month, we were doing really well. This was not business, just leads. And then ultimately what happened was, with that wind chime, within 1 week, I got 3 new clients. I promptly told one of my partners, she found that same wind chime, she put it out, she got 4 clients in 1 week.
So you put it outside or inside?
Outside.
Outside.
Outside the front door to your house. Now, some people say, just to give you a brief idea, why not do it by the business? Well, you can certainly do it by the business, but a lot of entrepreneurs especially have a slight tendency of running a business without actually getting a paycheck that they bring home. The idea is to have money from the business to bring home so that you're bringing money into the house.
Yes.
So that's why you want to have that wind chime outside the front door. Now, just in case someone has a situation, they can't do it by the front door, either it's in an apartment or whatever reason they can't do it. You can always either put it in the back balcony or you can put it inside the house, maybe by a window that is open on a regular basis, or put it by the heating and air conditioning duct so that when the air comes on, it blows and it will ring it a little bit. Because when we hear something that we've purposely placed with an intention to attract more business or more money into your life, the subconscious takes over every time that it hears that sound, and that's what attracts the business and the money.
Beautiful.
Interesting.
That's beautiful. So really, it goes with the basis of the thoughts. Our thoughts create our reality.
Yes.
And we have this ringer by our front door that's going, new clients are here, new clients are here, new clients are here. Every time we hear it, subconsciously, we're really reinforcing that. I love it.
Exactly. Yes.
Beautiful.
And it was through that that I actually started realizing how important intention is. That a lot of people would read the books. When I started doing Feng Shui, there were no books. This was the early 80s. In fact, a lot of my friends were concerned. They said, Linda, get out of there. You're getting involved in a cult. When we either change things within our home, we change a color, we move the furniture around, we do something and we do it with an intention. We're setting the energy. What happens when people just read a book about Feng Shui, they read about something, they see that they're supposed to do something, they may go and start to do that. They don't understand that we want to engage the whole body, the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies in order to be able to set the intention to shift the energy. Otherwise, you still have one of those bodies kind of hanging out doing its old the thing that it was doing before. We want to bring it all together and align it.
Nice. I love the way you just did this, align it, because I believe, it's my personal belief, that if we're aligned this way, that everything that we do will unfold with that grace.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Beautiful.
does. So many times, quite frankly, when I go in, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing, and I just go, all right, Spirit, I'm here, you brought me here. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to find? What am I supposed to do at this point in time?
I love it. I love it. So you just rely on your intuition. Question that comes up for me is like, how much was your training with Feng Shui involved as far as you're being in tune with your higher guidance?
I would say probably the first 10 years, I had not a clue that there was anything spiritual going on, but it was working in the background. I have a computer programming background, and so everything that I did, I was probably my master's worst nightmare. I would always be asking them, why? Why do we do this? What is the reasoning behind this? And they go, oh. It's American.
And that's kind of what I was asking too, right? I was
Exactly.
asking why. Why do we do this? How do we know it's really going to work?
Exactly. And what happens is that through the course of actually doing it, you start seeing, or I would start seeing the results. And even though I was a skeptic, I'd say, okay. And then I started doing the things myself. I've actually studied with 22 masters around the world. And in the process of doing that, again, asking all the masters about the why to do it, why not to do certain things, I would go home and I'd use myself as a guinea pig. Or if I'd have a situation where I was working with a client and I didn't have that at my house where I could actually do it, I'd say, okay, I heard something and I'm not sure. So we're going to stay in touch every day for the next week to see just what is transpiring here as we're doing this shifting of the energy. And once in a while, the stuff didn't work for some reason, and I was too new to really understand why. Then other times, right on, it would work just perfectly. Great, okay, so now I've got that one, now I understand, we'll do that. So that's how it kind of evolved. From that point on, Spirit guides me.
Best-selling author Steve Farber is the president of Extreme Leadership Incorporated and the founder of the Extreme Leadership Institute. His organizations are devoted to changing the world through the cultivation and development of extreme leaders in business, nonprofits, education, and beyond.
This is the framework for extreme leadership, the manifesto, the operating system, whatever you want to call it, and it stands for love, energy, audacity, and proof.
Farber's third book, Greater Than Yourself, The Ultimate Lesson of True Leadership, debuted as a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller. His second book, The Radical Edge, Stoke Your Business, Amp Your Life, and Change the World, was hailed as a playbook for harnessing the power of the human spirit. Steve's first book, The Radical Leap, A Personal Lesson in Extreme Leadership, is in its 10th edition and is already considered a classic in the leadership field and received Fast Company Magazine's Reader's Choice Award and was recently named one of the 100 best business books of all time. Coaching and inspiring extreme leadership at all organizational levels is Steve's passion, and he does so with a style that is part strategist, part social commentator, and all energy.
Steve, I am so grateful that you're here because I know we all need support in leadership. And I'm sure you find that out in the field, don't you?
Oh, yeah, leadership is one of those words that we use very loosely, and we use it a lot because we all know that it's important, and we all know that we want it, but when it comes down to what is it really, and then how do we actually do it, that's a pretty big discussion, and people do need quite a bit of help with it.
So when you say we use leadership loosely, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, if you think about it in a typical organization, for example, right? You've got managers, supervisors, executives, and all that, and we kind of lump them all together into leaders. They're the leaders. And the reality is that, and tell me if you think I'm wrong about this, but I don't think I am, but you tell me if you think I am. I'm willing to be, I just don't think I am. Leadership has got nothing to do with your position or your title.
I agree.
Right?
Okay, we all agree on that.
So, and I'll try to be polite about this, but I've met lots of people in my work over the years, and I've been doing leadership development in some form or another for 25 plus years. I've met plenty of people that sit very prominently in their organization and have very lofty and impressive sounding titles, have thousands of people that report to them, yet still have, and this is the polite part, a bit of work to do.
Oh, a bit? Only a bit?
As far as their leadership goes, right? But the other side of that is even more important. I literally can't tell you how many people I've met that have no positional authority. They're not anybody's boss, they're not managers, they're not supervisors. They're out there on the line doing the work, and yet they're great leaders by virtue of who they are, what they do, how they live, and their ability to influence people around them to change things for the better. So leadership has got nothing to do with your position or title. Having said that, the higher up you go in an organization, the more lofty your title is, the greater the expectation is from others that you'll also lead. It just doesn't automatically come with the territory.
Which is probably why employees have so many complaints, right?
Well, that's certainly one of the reasons. It is a huge wasted resource when we look at the typical attitude about what work should be, right? We've been conditioned to believe that work is something you do only because you have to, because you need the money to pay the mortgage or the rent or then you live your life in the evenings and on the weekends.
Exactly.
Right? And it's a terrible waste. And yet we believe, I think that it's part of our foundational belief as a society that that's just the way it's supposed to be. But who says so? If we can create an expectation that work should be whatever the work is, if I'm a solopreneur or running a 20,000 person organization, work should be a place that I can really engage my heart, my imagination, my creativity, do something cool, get paid for it, certainly. But why should work be a miserable experience? If we can create an environment, first of all, an expectation, then an environment, that work should be something that we love to do, it's going to affect everything. It's going to affect the quality of our product, the quality of our service, the relationship that we have with customers. So we're locking ourselves out from a huge potential just with that very misguided expectation that work should be misery.
Yes, the millennial generation, they aren't buying it. Right? We all bought into it, hook, line, and sinker, the baby boomer generation. Man, did we go to work 40 hours a week or what?
Whether we liked it or not.
Whether we liked it or not, we knew that we had to do it. We knew that it was the quality and the standard of life that we wanted our kids to have. And so we went to work and we worked hard.
Right.
And I happened to be one of those that absolutely loved what I did. For 30 years, I was in software development consulting. I love writing software. So even though I had that mindset that I have to do this, I was blessed to have to do it in something that I absolutely love.
Right.
But there are so many people out there, just like you said, that get up every day and they're in pain going to work because they don't want to go and do it anymore.
Unfortunately, your experience was the expectation, and I think we all can agree that it should be the rule, not the expectation.
Yeah, exactly.
And the millennial generation, we went to work, in our generation. Heck, when I was a boy.
Did you walk to school in the snow?
In the snow, right?
I lived in Chicago, so actually, yeah. We worked 40 hours, like you said. We were 40 hours. The millennials don't necessarily expect to work 40 hours. They'll work 50 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours. They'll never leave the office.
They sleep there.
They sleep there. If it's something that's really, that's really cool, there's no problem with that. This whole thing. I think every generation says this about the next generation. That these kids today, they don't work like we work. They have a different ethic than we do. I think that may be true, but the opposite way around. I think they're more willing to work hard. They want a cause to attach themselves to.
Yes.
They want to be on a mission.
Yes.
But so do we. It's not a generational thing. It just seems to be more obvious to the millennial generation. But the same is true for our generation. Right? We want to do work that's meaningful. It's a human thing, right? We don't want to fritter our lives away. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to do something that's going to have an impact.
And I believe that the generation that we're in, which is a little bit older, that we are also wanting to have that impact. I mean, it's something that millennials are really firm about.
Yeah.
I have, my daughter is definitely in the millennial group, and she has her degree. She's working in a nightclub because she's having fun. She's making lots of money.
She probably knows my son. It's the same thing.
Right? They're probably hanging out. Who knew? But it's great because, like we're saying, the millennials are following their heart.
Yeah.
They're not following the path that they were told that they have to follow. When we grew up, we listened to our parents and we followed what they did.
Sure.
And we modeled them.
My generation was known for a while as the me generation, right? In the 80s, it was that, it's all about accumulating wealth and it doesn't really matter what I do or the impact of what I do on anybody else as long as I was bringing in the buck. Right. But here's the thing. This idea of changing the world for the better, having an impact on the world, and prospering, and having personal joy and meaning, these are not mutually exclusive ideas. This is not some kind of universal law that says we have to sacrifice one for the other. Then in order to have an impact on the world, I can't make money. Or in order to make money, I have to compromise my values. I mean, this is crap. We made this up, right?
Yes.
So I believe that really what our objective should be as people, individuals and a society, is to amplify personal joy and meaning, stoke the fires of our business, and change the world for the better all at the same time. We should be going for all of those things.
Yes. Yes, I so agree. It's like,
I love that.
wanna do
Question is how?
Yes.
How do people know that they are a leader? What are the attributes of a leader?
There's been a lot of research on this over the years, several different studies that say that the least qualified person to answer that question is him or herself. Okay. So how do I know I'm a leader? Not by asking myself, but by asking the people that ostensibly are following me, or the people that I'm trying to influence, right? So there's a bit of a gap, I think, for a lot of us. We think that we've got this down more than we actually do. I mean, some people are very self-aware and know the things that they have to work on. Many people are. But the attributes of what makes a really extraordinary leader, which is the kind of person that I call an extreme leader. My whole platform is around this idea of extreme leadership. And that is that it's that leadership that doesn't have anything to do with your position or title. It's leadership that's really tied into your ability to change the world for the better. These are people that take a radical leap every day. So LEAP, L-E-A-P, is the framework that I write about and teach and coach on and all that. And it stands for love, energy, audacity, and proof.
Right.
So the extreme leader is a person who cultivates love, generates energy, inspires audacity, and proves him or herself every day.
That's excellent. And I think that proof is something that's really important. One of my favorite questions in coaching is, what is the evidence that you have to support that?
Exactly.
Right? So the evidence is that in the results and how people view you, not what you think about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So that question, how do you know if you're a good leader? Well, I'm a great leader. Well, what's the evidence that you have to support that? These folks here around me, they're my evidence. So you talk to them.
There you go.
But at the same time, in order for me to be an effective leader, to be an extreme leader, I have to prove my worthiness.
Yes.
So proof happens on a lot of different levels. In a business context, the way we prove our effectiveness is on the bottom line, right? Are we getting the results? Right. In a relationship context, at work or anywhere else, we need to prove that we mean what we say by making sure that our actions are congruent with our words, that I do what I say I'm going to do, that I follow through on promises and commitments, that when I tell you we should treat people with dignity and respect, that I model that I do that myself first. So that's a way of proving that I mean what I say through my action. But essentially what I'm proving is the foundation for this whole thing, which is love. And love, if we're being, honest about this, is not a word that we typically use in the same sentence as business.
Do you have a home where you wish had more peace, more serenity, was healthy for you, and that you actually had prosperity attracted to you? Most people have homes that have energies within them that prevent them from having these elements in their lives. If you participate in this 4-part webinar on Feng Shui, the practical approaches, you can change the energy yourself very easily to create a home that is happy, healthy, and harmonious.
So today's been great fun for all of us. We've loved being here together, and we're so glad that you've had an opportunity to connect with Linda Lenore and Steve Farber. I know that they will make a difference in your life and most definitely a difference in your business, right?
Absolutely. Steve Farber is so brilliant, and I know you've got some great tips from him, hanging on every word. And Linda is fabulous, so I hope you can incorporate some of those Feng Shui, it's hard for me to say that, but I'm going to try it again, Feng Shui tips into your life.
So we'll see you next week. Thanks for being with us today.